Well, hello, it's Jamie J. I am the CEO and founder of Bottleneck Virtual Assistants, but that's not why we're here today. Today, we're here to talk to Anna Kertesz, and I can't wait to introduce you to her. But we're getting ready to go live here, so I'm going to give you a little bit of time to get it set up and get ready to rock and roll. So if you have any questions or anything, get ready to ask away. Anna is amazing. You're going to love this conversation today. I know we usually do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but this was so special, I had to get this out there today for you. So if you have any questions, please ask away in the comments. So get ready. We'll get ready, and we'll probably launch this in about 38 seconds or so. So get ready. Hello and welcome to Live with Bottleneck. My name is Jamie J. I'm the CEO and founder of Bottleneck Virtual Assistants, but that's not why we're here. Why we're here today is because we're going to be talking with the one and only Anna Kertesz. We're going to be talking how to turn your passions into a thriving business. And why are we talking to Anna? Why is she here? Why is she able to help stop the bottleneck in your business? Let me tell you, Anna is a driven entrepreneur who started HOWto.LIVEit after realizing how hard it is to find the right ideas, inspiration, and tools to embrace change and build any type of business. Anna has positioned herself as a role model who champions knowledge, creativity, confidence, and action with the strong support from a community of entrepreneurs, experts, and investors. Anna pairs her passionate personality with a wealth of experience as an investor, deal maker, and advisor at Goldman Sachs, at Peninsula, and from her MBA at Harvard Business School. Holy cow, so excited. Please let me introduce you to Anna Kertesz. How you doing?
Hi, what a nice introduction, thank you.
I'm so excited. And I have to say, first and foremost, thank you so much to our mutual friend for introducing us, Elaine Pofeld. And you were kind enough to have me as a guest on HOWto.LIVEit, your show as well. And I had so much fun with that. And I just can't wait to hop into this and talk more about Anna and what you have going on. And for those of everybody that's listening, please ask comments if you have comments. If you're watching this in a replay, ask away. I will make sure to get your questions off to Anna as soon as possible. So Anna, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about you and your background. And yeah, we'll get into a fun conversation here.
Nice. Listen, I love this. I have to say your intro got me in a good mood. Yeah. The music and the images, and I think it's amazing. So thank you for inviting me, Jamie. And I think Elaine has been the source of so much learning and so many new ideas for me. So I'm very thankful to Elaine as well. So I am originally from Brazil, I guess you can tell from my accent. And I grew up in Brazil, even though I lived in Europe and in the US for a long time. I started working at Goldman Sachs when I was very young, and I was there for 13 years, and I loved all of it. I loved the thrill of deal making. I was doing very large mergers and acquisitions and fundraising and equity and debt. And it were wonderful 30 years. Before that, I was actually at Harvard Business School, which I call it my home. And I have incredible friendships, and I learned a lot. And it was, the dream of my life to go to a Harvard Business School. And right before I moved back to the US in 2016, I was working in a very large family office, basically an investment office, helping lead the private equity, the venture capital, and the strategic investments. And it was always my dream to have my own business. I was a board member, an investor, and a mentor to a lot of entrepreneurs. And I worked with a lot of incredible founders through the years. So in 2016, when I moved back to the US, I was looking at ideas for which business I wanted to build. And after a few months, I thought, it's crazy that there's no one place you can go and you can get ideas on which businesses to build, what's trending. what the market, needs are, what the tools that you need to build the business, the guides, the steps. And there's so much experience out there of incredible entrepreneurs like Jamie J that, it's very hard to find and to learn from other entrepreneurs. So that's why I'm building HOWto.LIVEit, to be your home base for everyone who wants to start and grow a business.
I absolutely love it. I love what this basically is teaching me. You went to Harvard. I mean, that's about the most elite that you can possibly think of. And with the education you get from there is just, second to none. And for someone that's graduated from Harvard with that type of a degree and your background, looking into traditional business versus where we're at now with COVID and everybody working remotely, what would you say was your biggest challenge moving from traditional based business to kind of going out on your own and making it more entrepreneurial?
That's actually a very, very good question. And I don't mean it just because you asked and you're so smart, but I mean it because I think that's one of the main challenges that people face. And that's one of the, actually one of the big learnings that I want to share with people. When people transition from the corporate world, be it a bank or a law firm or a multinational or any type of corporate environment, we're used to sort of having ideas, but asking for permission and validating our ideas, with a team. And there is sort of a set routine that you follow. And the grand vision is behind the business. And you also get your identity from being part of that institution, right? So I was always Anna from Goldman Sachs. I was Anna from Peninsula. I was Anna from Harvard Business School. And when you go on your own, your identity takes a toll. So you have to be aware that you're recreating yourself, right? Now I'm Anna from HOWto.LIVEit, but I'm building a brand, right? So that's the first one. The second is the key mindset shift that I think I had to go through, and it took me a long time, and I'm trying to make it easier for other people, is that you don't have to ask for permission. You don't have to ask for validation. You have to get out there and try. And it's really a trial and error and correction and experimentation phase. That's what entrepreneurship is all about. People think entrepreneurship is about taking risks, which is obviously part of it, but it's much more about finding a problem to solve, or many problems to solve, getting out there, and in the fastest and easiest way possible, solving that problem.
I love it. And I love how you said the one of the mindset shifts was you not have to ask for permission. So I was not a Goldman Sachs or anything like that, but I did work in corporate America for 12 years, and it took me about 11 years to figure out how to exit corporate America. And the challenge was I kept going somewhere else in the corporate environment because I just had this thing out. And I'll tell you this brief story. When I must have been, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 years old. And we were on a trip, and I was in the back of the car, and it was at night, and we were driving down the 57 freeway in Southern California. And there's these big groups of high rises in Irvine. And we were driving down. I saw this little corner light on at the very top, and it must have been 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, one day I'm going to be in the corner office. What 8-year-old thinks like that? And it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. I ultimately ended up in a corner office, not there, and I just was like, I can't make my own decisions. I have to ask for permission. And then I'd go to another company and say, oh, there's going to be fun. This is radio. There's no red tape here. Oh, then you have to get, approval from legal and management to do all these creative things. And so that was a big challenge for me. And one of the final motivators that kind of got me out onto my own. And now I've been on my own ever since 2006. And I'm proud to say I'm unemployable. I'm a very happy entrepreneur, but it's taken some time to get there. Do you have any stories like that? Or, how do you see yourself as an entrepreneur now versus corporate life?
It's so funny. I'll tell you a quick story. I love your story, by the way. And I do think that we all have our, let's call it, personal legends, which is, how Paulo Coelho calls it in the book, The Alchemist. we all have this, this urge to do something, and often we don't hear the signs, or we think we cannot make it happen. And trust me, I mean, I'm very thankful for the 16 years I worked. It was a wonderful experience in many, many ways. And a lot of the learnings and the network I have now come from all of this. But I'll tell you a story. When I was about to deliver my third child, I have 2 sons and a daughter. In 2011, when my daughter, was giving birth to her, I was in the hot tub, literally having contractions. And, a third child tends to come out of, the womb much faster. I was in the hot tub, and my husband is like, what are you reading? And I was reading the stories of, women entrepreneurs who made it. I was thinking, I was still working at Goldman at the time, and I was thinking, how am I going to have 3 kids and work in the intensity that I work? And I was traveling a lot, and I thought, the only way I can make and give away to my ambitions, I'm very ambitious, I'm very determined, I'm very intensive, is if I own my own business, because then I'm the boss of my time, I'm the boss of my intensity, I'm the boss of my business. And I was literally in the hot tub reading the story of, different women who were successful in tech and healthcare and media and everywhere, and thinking, okay, how can I build a business that will allow me, to fulfill my dreams and own my time? And that's how I think you start to feel this urge to, to be yourself and to do something authentic. And I do think that all of us, every single person on planet Earth, has their own unique talents. We all have something to add. And I do think that even very difficult moments like the one, we're going through now, always bring incredible opportunities as long as we're open, to look with a constructive mindset.
I love that. I do want to share a little disclaimer in there. I'm not saying that corporate America is bad in any way, shape, or form. If you are thriving and that's where you love being, I'm all for it, because I think we all need to have a great life balance and not a work-life balance. But if that's really where it's at, good for you. It just wasn't right for me. It wasn't a good feeling for me. And so that's the reason that I changed. So thank you for kind of throwing that out there, because I think that's an important disclaimer to make. So let's move on to how to live it. How did you come up with that? What does that mean to you? And what do you think when you say you're building your brand right now, other people interpret that to be?
Okay. So I am building a hub where my goal is to be an ever-growing source of tools, inspiration, ideas, and action. So I will soon be launching some products and services, so mainly online courses. I'm launching a startup academy and some workshops and webinars, leveraging a lot of my expertise as well as the expertise of all the experts I have on board and of other entrepreneurs like you, Jamie, who have collaborated, to share the tactical steps behind building their own businesses. My goal is that someone would come in and be able to navigate through my platform online, but also offline, and understand what they need and get everything they need to start and grow a business. So how to live it is because a lot of what we're creating is how to do different things that are required, right? How to launch a business, how to fund a business, how to find a good problem to solve. We've mapped out, the very, very large number of decisions that entrepreneurs need to make every single day. So we've mapped out the very crucial ones, and we're creating the answers for these common questions, leveraging on vetted expertise from entrepreneurs and experts. So it's been an incredible journey. I made a lot of mistakes, like we all make, and I'm hoping that through the collective experience of everyone, we can make the learning curve of other people, much easier and shorter, and save people time and money when they're looking to start a business, so they make less mistakes and mistakes that cost them less. And that's the whole idea.
It's fantastic. It's almost like you have a guide
to
take you through it. I just want to say, Michelle Leemeyer said, love this. We all have something to share. Anna, this is spot on for what is needed out there now. And I will say, Michelle is an unbelievable entrepreneur. She has a company called Pink Collars. And she started this business and it's taken off. And you're right. I think There's a lot of people that have something to share, but I want to ask one thing that maybe you can address. Having the tools, a guide for direction, how does someone know that, hey, I'm kind of really interested in this, but I have absolutely no idea where to start? Is that something HOWto.LIVEit can help with?
Yes. So first I want to thank Michelle for the comment. And Jamie, you have to introduce me to her. I think we're going to...
I most definitely will. She's amazing. You're going to love her.
Introduce me to Michelle. So listen, the first part of what I'm building is to actually help people on the idea generation. You know, some people have an idea of what they want to do. Some people have no clue, right? There's a lot of people who have been out of the workforce, or want to leave a job but have no idea where to get started, or have been on a career break for a long time for parenting reasons, or to take care of, you know, elderly ones, or have actually had a very successful career that are too young, you know, to be ready to stop working. I do think that, you know, work brings us longevity. So yes, so I have a roadmap that will help people understand what are the steps, what are the tools, what are the decisions they need to make. And soon I'm going to be launching the roadmap with, you know, the products and services to help people navigate through that and actually connect them if and when they need an expert. So let's say, you know, someone is launching a new business. You know, let me give an example. Finding a good name and turning that into a brand is not an easy thing. And most people think that, you know, a brand is a logo. So they get out there, they get a logo through, you know, one of the platforms that are out there, and they said, okay, I created my brand. But they don't know that, you know, a lot of people don't know that, one, you need to check your name in different social media platforms to make sure it's available. You have to get a domain, because even if you have a great social media presence, you don't own your data on social media. So you have to have a website to also leverage, you know, search engine optimization and bring an additional audience to your business. Then you have to define specifically what's the problem you're trying to solve and what's your, you know, target audience, so you can see what language are you going to be using, how are you going to communicate with them. And then the whole branding, right? Some people think branding is kind of a luxury, but, you know, the simpler the communication, the better it is, and that should be translated on your brand. As Donald Miller, who is a great, you know, marketing and branding, you know, person, says, if you confuse, you lose. So a lot of people lose, you know, people along the way. So I have started building HOWto.LIVEit on the content side because I wanted to collect data and get feedback from people. But now I'm going to the next phase of the business, which is launching products and services that will help people navigate through the roadmap of all the decisions that need to be made. And instead of having to spend, you know, many hours trying to understand, and to be honest, in most cases, people don't even know what they need next. And by the time they learn they need to do something, it's too late. I wanna be a shortcut. I wanna be a hub that allows people to have that shortcut, and also gives people access to experts, but also to the networking, right? The more you connect with other people who are also, you know, building a business, the more we can be a forum for that exchange. I think the more successful everyone will be. And I do believe very strongly on collaboration over competition. I think there's room for all of us to be successful. And the more we create, the more, you know, sort of wealth in the sense of knowledge and every single sense of the word, the more we create for everyone.
God bless you, because there's one of the biggest things, like someone asked me the other day, why did you have your competitor as a guest on your podcast? And I said, well, first of all, he's not a competitor. We share a super passionate about our certain industry, and it's nice to have that back and forth. And it's also nice. Our company is not a fit for every single client that comes in or every single prospect. It's so nice to have someone else that maybe runs their business model differently that may be a better fit for them. Plus, we can run ideas, pass back and forth. in my opinion, there is no competition. And I get a lot of slack from that, by the way, saying that. It's not just like, it just rubs people the wrong way sometimes. They're like, how in the world? But that's my view. Like, I don't think there's competition. And I love that your platform has an opportunity for collaborative efforts and have that collaboration there, because it's kind of like a mastermind.
Yeah.
To be honest, if I never had my mastermind, I wouldn't be with Bottleneck. There'd be no Bottleneck if there was no mastermind that I was involved in. So collaboration is definitely key. And I just wanted to take a second and acknowledge the fact that you said that, because I don't want that to be taken lightly. I think that's probably one of the biggest aspects, in my opinion, to you being able to help people on their way.
Yeah.
You have a wealth of knowledge. Like, holy cow, you can share that with people to kind of help them go over the hurdles and maybe not make as many mistakes as perhaps you may have made or could have made based on your experience.
I mean, I think you see, there's another point related to what you just said, which is, you know, even if businesses are in very different industries and with very different products and services, there's a lot of commonality on the decisions that need to be made, right, Jamie? So, for example, you have, let's say, you know, decisions on your website, or how to price your products, or how to, you know, reach your audience. You know, someone who has a very different business from you also has, you know, decisions that are similar to yours. And people underestimate how this exchange is very valuable, because you have found, you know, different tools. I mean, you specifically have incredible knowledge on search engine optimization and you know, target audience and deciding on your customer avatar and things we have talked about. You don't have to have a business similar to Bottleneck to learn all of that from Jamie. People can learn that from you, and that can apply to a restaurant owner, you know, to a media business, to a technology businesses, because a lot of this knowledge is common, and that's what I'm trying to capture, you know, at HOWto.LIVEit. Yes.
Oh yeah, thank you for bringing that up too. That's yeah, so that's why I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm a huge fan of entrepreneurism. I think I don't know the exact numbers, and I can't reference any quotes or anything like that, but I know in talking with several of my friends that we're at an all-time low for entrepreneurs, which is incredible to me, that we're at an all-time low. And I understand it's kind of scary going out on your own. I don't have that maybe that support structure when you're first starting out. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Right? Like it. Holy cow. Okay, let's, you know, I got a family, or I have, you know, there's things we have to do. I have to make sure to. What do you say to those people that, you know, you can't say, oh, it's going to be okay. You don't know how things are going to work out. But what do you say to kind of help support them in kind of putting something out there and kind of taking that first step and kind of overcoming a little bit of that anxiety and or fear, or, you know, that just don't think that they can make it? Maybe that's always that little fella in the back of your brain saying something.
I mean, I think, listen, this is such a great question. I think everyone, most of us, you know, wake up every morning saying, you know, am I doing the right thing with my life, right? And I think when you're building your own business, that question comes up every day. But when you see the thrill of building something, I think you feel, okay, this is the best I could be doing, because this is coming from who I am and from the inside. I think I understand the fear that people have, especially now, and the word entrepreneurship is a very loaded word. A lot of people actually are business owners and don't call themselves entrepreneurs. So what I would say is learn from the best, right? Learn what are the types of businesses that are more recession-proof. Learn what are the types of businesses that need less of an upfront, you know, investment to get started. Learn from the one-person $1 million businesses like Jamie, who have been profiled by Elaine Poffel in her incredible book. Learn what are the best practices that they have followed. And I'm actually starting to share all of that at HOWto.LIVEit. Learn how they use their time. Learn how these very successful, you know, lean entrepreneurs deal with the help they need to get. They don't hire a lot of people, they contract a lot of people, especially in the beginning. Learn how they find a very specific niche to get started and how they serve a very specific niche. Learn how to find a very good problem to solve, and people usually pay for the need they have or for the emotional connection they establish with the product. And scarcity, as we know, is often very valuable. So I would say learn what are the types of businesses, what are the business models, and become a professional in understanding what is the best setup you can have to have a profitable business that is, let's say, recession-proof with minimum capital investment. And this sounds like, oh, that doesn't exist, but that does exist. If you look at the statistics behind Elaine's book, there's about, now I would say, 35 million solopreneurs in the US, and she's, by the way, writing a second book. 1% of those, so about 30,000, are one-person businesses who make multi-million dollars a year. How do you do that? I mean, Jamie, you're one of them, right? How do people do that? How do they use their time? Which processes have they created? What type of industries have they focused on? How do they focus on a very niche market? Learn that, and then you make the odds of starting your business in a successful way and making it lasting much bigger. If you start a business because now healthcare is so trendy and we all think healthcare is needs are here to stay. I mean, do you understand about healthcare? Do you know how to build a business in healthcare? Do you realize the approvals you need to go through, the amount of capital you need to to get? So I think I'm trying to break entrepreneurship and a lot of the myths that people have around it, because people need to build a business that is suitable for them, but also they need to learn. People have to get the tools. They need to get the best practices so that they can, increase the odds of building a very successful business.
Yes, 100%. On your website, HOWto.LIVEit.com/get-ideas, fantastic resource right there in and of itself. So some of the things, like, we were bootstrapped. I think I told you this. Our company was bootstrapped. I think the first year we did like $11,000 all year. It's not an easy road. But the other thing that I want to instill to people is you don't worry about building out the entire business. I made the mistake of doing with 3 other people. We all got together and we made 93 video course. 93 videos. The course took us almost 6 months. You can imagine. We sold one. One person bought the course from us. So you have to make sure that it's viable. And that's why I think it's really cool. If you go to your site, HOWto.LIVEit, there's a lot of ideas there and concepts. And I think it's very important to kind of get a feeling for kind of like, hey, how viable is this? I think it's a great idea. Do other people?
Yeah.
We're getting close to the end of the time, but I think we have enough time to ask you maybe this question, because I would love to hear what your answer is. How do you check the viability of a product or a service to make sure that you don't work too hard, spend too much money, only to realize it's going to flop?
That's a great question. And that is actually one of the big learnings I've had over the last 4 years, ever since I started, this journey. I think the easiest way is find a problem, create the simplest version of a product, and see if people pay for it. And the easiest way to check is literally to build a landing page, put your offer there, and see if people will click, see if they would pay. And, it's funny you gave the example of your online courses, and you can, list and say, okay, if you've had these online courses, would you pay? And see if people pay. I think with social media, it's much easier to see if people would pay for, a product. But there are so many ways, if you're creating, let's say you're creating an athleisure wear, instead of going out there and creating different sizes for all the different, types of clothing you want to do, create one size. What's the size that sells the most? Is it medium? So stick to medium, choose one of the parts of the, the product you want to create. If people buy that, then you create other types, you create other sizes. There's no point in creating an inventory. So I think by leveraging existing products, by leveraging, a landing page, by leveraging the infrastructure that is out there, it's the easiest way to test if people will pay for what you're trying to build. And I think that's the best secret of entrepreneurship.
Niche down first, right? Niche down and then kind of grow from there. You know, I didn't have Bottleneck Medical and Bottleneck Real Estate when I first started. We were just Bottleneck. And I think the other important thing, I love the fact that you said that, because you have to niche down. You have to go so small to get bigger, in my opinion. But the other part of that too is you're checking on something and whether or not it's viable. So you're getting out there and you're not distracted. It's a very hyper focused area. It's so much easier to focus on one thing rather than going all over the place. I forget who it was. I think it was Jeffrey Green. He was the author of that book, Crossing the Chasm. Fantastic book, by the way. And he said you have to think of a niche as like a, what do you call those little things you look through and make things bigger, magnifying glass. Yeah. And he says if you hold it in one area while the light goes through there, it can start a fire. You don't move it around like this, it's not going to start any fires. But if you hold it in one area and it just concentrates on that certain area, that's how you're going to, it's kind of like that with a niche, right? If you just focus on one area and really concentrate on that, I think then it comes out to where, oh man, this thing's starting a fire, it's starting to catch on.
I love that analogy. And if I can say one last thing, you mentioned my website, thank you, and you mentioned Get Ideas. If people go there, you will see that a lot of the ideas we've been sharing are related to online stores, because e-commerce is here to stay. It was already one of the highest growth industries before, the global pandemic, and it will be even more now. People are buying more online, and there are ways to find trending products, via Shopify, Oberlo, which is connected to Shopify, Google Trends. So I do think for a first-time entrepreneur, starting an online store, ideally with Shopify and leveraging, Instagram, Facebook, and other social media platforms is probably one of the easiest businesses to get started, and the trends are, supportive of that. So I think it's worth checking it out.
Well, that's fantastic. And you just had someone else, a friend of ours, Scott Sprinkles. He's watching from Cape Fear. Cape Fear is a place that we go boating all the time. So he was checking in. A great engineer, great mind out there, and a lot of fun to hang out with. So I wanted to share that with you. And I wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time. And I agree with you. I think e-commerce is going to be huge. Here's the other part that I think is really big about that. Sure, you can infuse a ton of cash and you can go out there and raise a bunch of money and all that stuff. But what's nice about it too is you can also do it without having to go out and worry about raising a lot of capital to get it done, because there's not a lot of overhead going on there. So I love that point. How do people get in touch with you if they want to say, oh my gosh, I got to meet Anna, I got to figure out when she's starting this and how I can get involved and get my company going?
I would love to hear from everyone who is interested. So my website is HOWto.LIVEit.com. We share a lot of content on Instagram, and you can follow us at HOWto.LIVEit. That's our Instagram account. And you can email me as well. My email is anna@HOWto.LIVEit.com. Jamie just put it up there. And I am available. I am willing to learn. I'm willing to teach. And I'm willing to build this together. I want to see everyone thrive. I want to see everyone shine. And I want to build this family with everyone. So I look forward to it.
Well, I will tell you, it's been such a pleasure having a conversation, not only today, but in the past. And I look forward to more conversations to come. And in any way, shape, or form I can ever be of assistance to you, please count me in. I absolutely love what you've done, and I'm a big fan. So thank you for bringing this to the world. I appreciate that.
Thank you. And I'm your fan as well, as you know it. So thank you. Let's keep working together.
Yeah, definitely. If there's one thing that you would like to give some advice to people or kind of help them along before we wrap up today, what would your tip be, or maybe some friendly, helpful advice?
I would say very quick 3 things. One is my favorite quote is by Maya Angelou, who is a poet, and she says, "There's no greater anguish than having an untold story inside you." So if you have something you have this urge to do, go out and do it and live it. The second one is one of the biggest challenges in life is exchanging good for great. So if you think your life is good, but you think it could be greater, go for it. And the third one is do it. Take that tiny first step. Don't worry what people are going to think about it, if it's going to go well or not. Just go and do it. Check out the ideas we're sharing. Keep in touch. Soon we're going to be launching, ways to help you in a very, very hands-on manner to start and grow your business. But just do it and have people around you who support you, who believe in you, and that's a huge step.
Oh, I love it. I'm a big fan of Maya Angelou too. I like the other one, and I'm paraphrasing. I don't know it exactly, but she said it's not what's said by people that is what you remember. It's how you made them feel.
Yeah.
Pretty powerful stuff.
Thank you, Jamie. This was wonderful. Thank you.
It was. Now, hold on one quick second. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up, but please don't go anywhere. Just hold on one quick second.
Okay, I'm here.
I'll go ahead and wrap up. So my name is Jamie J, CEO and founder of Bottleneck Virtual Assistants. And today we've been talking to Anna Kertesz, and we talked about how to turn your passions into thriving business. And you can go and learn more about Anna at HOWto.LIVEit or HOWtoliveit.com. You should seriously go there because it's a really good website and there's a lot of fantastic information on that website. Highly, highly recommend. Take advantage of what you have to offer. Everybody, as Michelle Myers said earlier, everybody has something to give. Take what you feel is ordinary and deliver that for extraordinary value to others. I promise you're going to absolutely feel so good once something is out there in the world that you've been able to design from your own self that actually helps somebody else out in this world. It's a fantastic feeling. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Again, if you have any questions or comments to Anna, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to make an introduction. We've been talking about how to turn your passion into a thriving business. And all you have to do is go to HOWto.LIVEit or HOWtoliveit.com. My name is Jamie J. Thank you so much for tuning in here at Live with Bottleneck, and have a fantastic day. Don't forget, make your own ripple.